"I know how to save your daughter," said the black boy to the arrogant millionaire elderly woman. In the coldest wing of San Clemente Hospital, where the smell of ether mingles with the despair of those awaiting miracles, a woman walks as if she commands time itself. Helena Montero Vasconcelos. Her hair is tied in an impeccable bun. Her high heels echo on the sterilized floor like silent orders. Her eyes, green and cold as jade, cut through the environment with an authority that needs no introduction. A millionaire, arrogant, widow of an influential politician, owner of a chain of clinics. She doesn't cry, she doesn't tremble, she only demands. But today her world cracks from within. On the operating room gurney, her daughter Isadora, 16 years old, fights a rare infection, mysteriously contracted after a simple appendectomy. The doctors murmur terms that Helena despises: unknown, bacterial resistance, critical condition. She listens but doesn't accept. Her daughter will not die. She is Helena Montero Vasconcelos, and the world obeys her. In the corridor, staff steer clear of her path. Nurses pretend to jot down notes. Everyone fears her contained fury. But among these almost invisible figures, there's a frail body, too small for the grandeur of the chaos around him. Gabriel, 12 years old, black. Oversized t-shirt and worn-out sneakers. He cleans the floor that no one notices with a tattered rag. He's the son of the janitor, Donna Cida, who's at home sick, and today, at his insistence, he came to help. No badge, no permission, no voice. Gabriel watches her from afar. He sees the powerful woman arguing with the hospital director. He sees her holding a white handkerchief to her mouth, not out of elegance, but because something inside her is crumbling. And he feels, as only those who suffer learn to feel, that this moment is more than it seems. He cleans, yes, but he hears everything, and he knows something she doesn't yet know. He saw, he heard. He hid behind the wrong door at the wrong or right time. One of the doctors, laughing with another, mentioned the experiment that went wrong. They talked about the altered serum. They said, no one will investigate because the girl is the daughter of the Queen of Healthcare. Gabriel trembled. But he memorized everything, and now he's there, afraid but determined. He approaches. Helena's eyes ignore him as if he were just another wall, but he persists. "Ma'am, I know how to save your daughter." The sentence hangs between them like a blasphemy. Helena turns her face slowly. Her gaze is steel. "What did you say?" "I know what they put in her serum. I know who did it. I heard everything. I can prove it." She blinks, stares at him as if he were a speck of dust daring to defy the world. "Who are you?" "Gabriel. I'm Donna Cida's son, but that doesn't matter. I saw Dr. Murillo and another man. They tampered with the vials. They said it would be quick, that the girl wouldn't survive. It was to send a message." Helena laughs, a bitter laugh. "Do you really think I'll listen to a street kid? Do you have any idea who I am?" Gabriel lowers his eyes, but he doesn't back down. "I know who you are, and I know who they are too. I know things no one should know." She turns her back, but something in her hesitates, an instinct or desperation. She whispers, "If you're lying, I'll destroy you." He swallows hard, but he stands firm. "Follow me." Gabriel leads her to the old deactivated wing of the hospital, a place where secrets sleep in moldy walls. Behind a partition, he shows what he hid: an old cell phone, recording, a conversation, clear voices, names, plans, cold laughter. Helena listens to everything, and for a moment her hands tremble. "Why did you do this?" "Because my mom said we have to do what's right, even when no one's watching. And also because no one would believe me. But maybe they'd believe it if it was about your daughter." Helena doesn't respond, she just looks at him, and in that silent exchange something changes. But they're not alone. Through the security camera in the wing, the guard Jonas watches everything. And Jonas isn't just a guard. He's paid by Murillo. Within minutes a false siren blares, code red. All corridors are sealed off, and Helena realizes they're trying to stop her from leaving with the evidence. "Let's go," she says to Gabriel, grabbing his hand. They run, through corridors that once seemed neutral but now feel like traps. The hospital, once her kingdom, is now a prison. In the central pharmacy, they hide behind boxes. Gabriel knows the shortcuts, the service tunnels, the passages ignored by the lords of power. He guides Helena as if she were the child and he the master. Why did they want to kill my daughter? Because you found out too much. Because your daughter knew they were embezzling funds from the research institute. She saw the report, she told someone, and someone wanted to silence her. Helena takes a deep breath. She remembers. 2 weeks ago, Isadora showed her a notebook, data, charts, a whistleblower's report. She barely paid attention. Teenage curiosity, she thought. But now it all makes sense. They reach the morgue. It's the only place without cameras. Gabriel locks the door, and there, in the cold of the marble walls, Helena listens to the rest of the recording. She hears her name, hears Murillo saying she's no longer useful, and something inside her burns. They'll pay for this, but before they can leave, someone tries to break down the door. Gabriel pales. Helena breathes deeply. Is there another way? He nods. A decommissioned freight elevator. A dark shaft, but possible. Let's go. They descend by cables, with fear, with haste, with faith. When they reach the basement laundry, she calls the only man she trusts, Eduardo, her lawyer, a former cop. I need you now. And bring copies of these audios to the press. If I die, publish them. At the exit, an ambulance blocks the gate. Men in lab coats with the eyes of killers. But then, the hospital's street cleaners appear. Gabriel smiles. They know him, and they know he never lies. Let them through, one of them says, and the ambulance backs off. Helena doesn't understand. Gabriel just says, you have allies where you never thought to look. When they reach safety, Eduardo is already waiting. He takes the phone, listens, turns pale. This will blow up the system. Let it blow, says Helena. She looks at Gabriel, and for the first time, she kneels to his level. Thank you. You saved my daughter, and you saved me too. System. He lowers his eyes, but there are tears there and a dignity no one can take away. Days later, the hospital is investigated. Dr. Murillo is arrested. The director disappears, and Helena, in front of the cameras, declares, today I learned that the truth can come from where you least expect it, and that the eyes the world ignores see better than those who think themselves above it all. She creates a new institute, names Gabriel as a symbol of ethics. He returns to school, and in a packed auditorium, he holds the microphone with trembling hands, saying, I just did what my mom taught me. And you, do you believe that people can truly change when life confronts them with what money cannot buy? Share your thoughts in the comments. Helena wakes up early that morning, still dressed in discreet clothes without makeup, sitting by a wide window overlooking the hospital gardens. She watches the sunrise with an expression no one, until a few days ago, could have imagined on her face. Humility. Her daughter is still in the ICU, but out of danger. The correct antibiotic, started after Gabriel revealed what had been tampered with, finally fought the infection. The doctors are stunned. The official story says it was an emergency intervention at the last minute. But the truth lives within her, pulsing stronger than ever. Gabriel still comes to the hospital every day, no longer as an undercover janitor, but as an honored guest. He and Helena have formed a kind of silent alliance. She, a woman who always trusted in power, now finds in the invisible boy the moral compass she always dismissed. And he, who always feared the shiny white corridors, now walks through them as someone carrying a truth no one can erase. But the peace is short-lived. A message arrives on Helena's phone. No name, no signature, just a video. It shows footage of her daughter in the ICU bed and a hand squeezing the IV tube. The same hand Gabriel had exposed. The warning is clear. You won the battle, but you haven't won the war. Backing off is your only chance to save what you still have. Helena freezes. Her blood runs cold. Her heart races. She calls Eduardo immediately, but the line drops. She calls the hospital. They deflect. No one knows anything. And then she realizes the web of corruption goes deeper than she imagined. Murillo was just a piece. Someone is still inside, watching, spying. She rushes to the hospital, enters the ICU, and finds Isadora sleeping. The IV is intact, but the camera, it's gone. Someone is sabotaging everything, she says, her voice trembling as she looks around. That same night she goes to Gabriel's house. Donacita opens the door with a startled look in her eyes. I'm sorry for coming like this, Helena says, but I need your help, and your son's help. The woman hesitates. But Gabriel appears with the same determined look as before. He understands without needing an explanation. They're going to try to erase the evidence, he says. They'll wipe everything. Audios, cameras, witnesses. Then we'll get there first. They infiltrate at dawn. Helena still has privileged access, though she tries to avoid using it. They pass through the deactivated wings. They enter the security control room. And there they discover what they didn't expect. Someone is copying footage, deleting records, and planting false evidence. They're going to try to turn the tables, Gabriel whispers. Make it look like it was us. An internal alarm goes off. They've been spotted. Come on, Helena shouts. They flee through the back. They're pursued. The hospital is now a living maze of threats. One of the guards chases them with a syringe in hand. He's not a guard. He's a masked nurse. Helena trips. Gabriel goes back for her, helps her up. They run together like mother and son, fleeing something the world will never admit. They reach the central archive room, lock the door, search for an old hard A drive where they know the footage from the first day is stored. Gabriel finds it, but the door bursts open. "Hand it over!" shouts the man in the lab coat, his face covered. Helena stares at him, throws a vial at the light. Gabriel takes advantage and runs behind, knocks the man down with a power cord. They escape, through the side door, through the back street. Eduardo is already waiting with the car running. On the way, Gabriel asks, "Why do they do this?" Helena replies, "Because power is more addictive than any drug, because there are those who kill to keep control, because my daughter touched where they hide what should never be seen, the trail of money that doesn't save but destroys." They arrive at the public prosecutor's office. For the first time, Helena uses her name, her influence, her fortune, to do what's right. The next day, the press explodes. The video of the attack on Isadora leaks. Voices are identified. Cameras recovered. Murillo tries to negotiate a plea deal. Names politicians, companies, million-dollar contracts. Helena doesn't back down. She names those involved, admits past mistakes, says publicly, "For years, I was complicit in silence. Today I want to be an ally of the truth." But the attacks don't stop. Isadora suffers a relapse, poisoning, silent, lethal. This time there's no protocol. This time there's only hope. "I don't want to lose her," says Helena, holding her daughter's hand. Gabriel enters the room. He brings something no one thought of, a plant, an herb used by his grandmother, a healer for severe infections. He studied, read, asked. "It might sound crazy, but try this." The doctor hesitates. But there's nothing left to lose. They apply the extract. Hours later, Isadora opens her eyes, for the first time in days. "Mom," she whispers. Helena cries, and this time she doesn't hide it. In the following months, the hospital changes. It's renamed Asclepius. Now it's called Vida Hosta Institute, run by a new board, monitored, open to the community. Gabriel earns a scholarship to an elite school, but he refuses. He chooses to study at a public school. He wants to change things from within, from the bottom, where no one looks. In a packed auditorium during his first lecture, he says, "The truth was never a weapon of the powerful. It was always the shield of the invisible." And that day, Helena watches in silence. The woman who once ruled marble boardrooms now sits on the floor, among mothers of simple children in worn uniforms, holding her daughter's hand, and smiles. Because she finally understands what her wealth could never buy: redemption. And do you believe arrogance can fall to its knees when confronted with the simple and courageous faith of a child? Write in the comments what this story made you feel. Some weeks have passed. The world around seems the same, but inside Helena, everything is new. She walks the sidewalks of the outskirts with a notebook in hand, personally visiting the health clinics she barely knew existed before. She's there without security, without makeup, without the weight of her surname. The looks that once feared her now watch her with surprise, and gradually with respect. She's not seeking applause. She seeks understanding. She wants to know how so many Veronicas, so many Siders, so many invisible mothers survive in a system that has always ignored their existence. And she wants to fix what she helped keep broken for so long. Gabriel accompanies her. He's become her link to reality. A 12-year-old boy who has seen more than many adults, and yet he still smiles as if he believes. They visit a small school in Heliopolis. Children play soccer with a plastic bottle. Helena sits on the ground with them, tells stories, asks their names. promises something simple, to listen, and she keeps her promise. But the world of the powerful doesn't forgive deserters. That night, Helena receives an unexpected visitor, a tall, grey-haired man in a tailored suit with a forced smile. It's Horacio Mendez, an old ally of her late husband, one of the untouchables. "Helena, but you've made too much noise. It's time to return to your place." "My place now is beside those who need me," she responds firmly. "You're risking everything. Do you know what's at stake?" "I do. But I also know what I've already lost, and I won't lose my soul to keep a false empire." He steps closer, whispers, "You have a daughter. Remember that." She stares at him, not with fear, but with contempt. "Touch her, and I won't stop until I bring every one of you system down." The next day, the Vida Justa Institute is targeted by a fiscal raid. Anonymous complaints. They try to discredit her. The sensationalist media calls her the former queen of healthcare again. They say she's lost her mind, that she allied herself with a street kid and lost her judgment. But Gabriel records a video. With his thin but firm voice, he tells the world, "I saw the truth. And when the truth is thrown into the mud, we have to wash it with courage." The video goes viral. Ordinary people take to the streets in support. Mothers, students, nurses. A movement begins, spontaneous, real. "We Are Gabriel" becomes a hashtag. The boy goes to Brasilia, speaks in the Senate, cries as he remembers his mother, says justice is not a favor, it's a duty. And Helena, by his side, is no longer a redeemed millionaire. She's just a woman who learned that silence also kills. The powerful tighten their grip. They try to kidnap Gabriel, but they fail. The community unites, protects him. They care for him like a collective son. For the first time, the boy who was invisible is now a symbol, and that scares those in charge. Isadora, still recovering, records a video with a weak voice. "If I'm alive today, it's because of someone the world never looked at. Look now." The threats increase. Horacio disappears, but his network doesn't. An attack is planned. Eduardo uncovers it. Helena stops it. "Enough, we won't fight with their weapons. We'll win with what they despise most, truth, light, and people." She calls a press conference. Beside Gabriel, Isadora, Donatida, nurses, students. "We are many, and we are no longer afraid." She opens documents, recordings, dossiers, names. The rotten structure begins to crumble. Arrests are ordered. The Ministry of Health faces intervention. São Clemente Hospital is federalized, becomes a model. Gabriel receives a medal which he refuses. He asks for something better. "I want a library there in the school courtyard, and let it bear my mother's name." The library is built. Helena helps stack the books with her own hands. At the top of the shelf, a photo of Dona Cida, smiling. On the inauguration day, Gabriel speaks. "You don't need to be big to change the world. You just need the courage to do what's right, even when the whole world thinks you're worthless." He steps off the stage. Isadora hugs him. Helena approaches, and together the three walk through the school's corridors as if they were a new family, not of blood, but of choices. Across the city, Horacio watches it all on the television of a luxurious, isolated, decaying apartment. For the first time, he tastes what it's like to be ignored. And Brazil, watching this story, rediscovers something ancient, that justice doesn't live in palaces, but in every courageous act born in the periphery. Helena decides to sell half her fortune, creates a foundation, and starts working in silence. Gabriel returns to his routine, still wears flip-flops, still plays soccer in the street, but now he carries books in his hands and eyes that recognize him, as if the world has finally learned to see. At night on the hilltop he sits with Isadora on a concrete ledge. They watch the lit-up city. "Do you think all this will last?" she asks. "If we keep speaking the truth, it will." Helena watches them from afar and smiles. A simple smile, without power, without luxury, but full of peace, because now she knows she was saved not by influence, but by a courageous faith that no money could buy. And you? Do you believe the world can still be changed by voices born to be silenced, but dared to speak? Write in the comments how this story touched your heart.